What's going on, everyone? Chargers Now is presented by Prize Picks. I am your host, Will Ortner. And on today's program, it's time to get fired up. Football is back. Kind of, sort of. OTAs are happening. How about that? We're going to go through the major storylines heading into OTAs for the Los Angeles Chargers because it is a very important time in the NFL offseason program. We're really going to start to see what the new look offense, what the new look defense is going to look like in Los Angeles. And we want to make sure that you have your binoculars ready to be looking at the correct storylines that will be coming out and what people will be talking about here on our show and on a lot of other Charger shows that you will be watching. Hit the thumbs up button if you're fired up for OTAs to get underway because we are getting closer and closer to real football happening. I'll tell you right now, I know the dark days of summer are really coming in, but I can't wait for real football to be back. I'm not watching any of these other leagues either. I'm not watching Spring League. I'm not watching stuff that's going on up in Canada or anywhere else. I want to talk about football here in America, about our Los Angeles Chargers. Hit the thumbs up button. All right, so let's talk about the first major storyline that I've got my eye on, and it's 100% the offensive line. The thing that held back this Los Angeles Chargers team last year wasn't coaching, although there were times where it wasn't great. It wasn't play calling offensively. It wasn't the play of Justin Herbert. It was this offensive line. It was the worst offensive line in the National Football League. Now, to be completely fair to the offensive line of last year, well, Rashawn Slater, Joe Alt, they were injured. So you had some of the worst tackle play in the NFL. The interior of the offensive line, none of those three guys are back, either left in free agency or just flat out retired. So in the new look Chargers offensive line, it should be better just by the health of the tackles. Tyler Biadasz signing in at center is a gigantic deal for this team as they try to revamp that O-line using someone like Biadasz who has been in the National Football League for a while, someone who's had success in the National Football League there at that center position is going to be huge. And then, of course, Jake Slaughter and Cole Strange, two guys that should fit well into this Mike McDaniel style of offense. A lot more zone schemes. Obviously, we saw General Manager Joe Ortiz really put an added emphasis on revamping this offensive line for the Los Angeles Chargers. Going into the draft, grabbing three guys on the interior of the offensive line between Slaughter, Harkey, and Taylor. Going into free agency, albeit grabbing guys that might not have been as expensive as some of the top options in their position in Strange and Biadasz. Still two guys who have had a lot of success in the National Football League and two guys that are veterans of the game. Now, I would have loved to go and get a little bit more than just Cole Strange, but I also think it's important to note that Strange played for McDaniel in Miami. McDaniel wants him to join the Los Angeles Chargers. I think we should be very pro that. Did the Chargers improve their offensive line this season? Let me know your prediction down below in the comment section, yes or no. I think OTAs are going to be our first look at how much did they improve and where are the spots that they still need to improve, whether it's from growth from the players or maybe they got to go into free agency and look at somebody else. Next, let's look at Justin Herbert's offensive mastery. Now, I do think it's a bit ridiculous that there are some people that are saying, oh, Justin Herbert isn't bought in. This is going to be a problem for the Los Angeles Chargers this season. I don't think that is going to be the case. In my opinion, when you look at Justin Herbert, he's shown over his career that he knows how to be successful. He's gone through a lot of different offensive coordinators. Mike McDaniel is just the latest. But it is important to mention that he is learning a new offensive scheme. And if the team is going to go as far as Justin Herbert takes them, which is something that I certainly believe, well, then they need to have their quarterback ready to go, clicking on all cylinders. I don't have an issue with him going with his girlfriend, Madison Beer, I believe is her name, and traveling around the world, traveling around the country, seeing different sites, watching her perform. Good for him, man. I go and support my girlfriend. I support the special lady friend. I hope the rest of you do too. But if you're going to do that, we also have to understand that there is going to be a watchful eye on how he performs early as he learns this offense. We got more to talk about on the OTA storylines, but first, I do need to let you know that today's show is made possible by Prize Picks. Prize Picks is America's #1 sports picks app. It's the best place to win cash while watching sports. With playoff basketball here, there's no better time to cash in with our friends at Prize Picks. And I'll tell you this, the app, it's really easy to use. To qualify for a Prize Picks lineup, pick 2 to 6 players and select more or less on stat projections, including points, rebounds, assists, three-pointers, and several others across all sports. If you're more of a baseball guy, you can choose stats such as hits, home runs, and strikeouts. One thing I love is the new social feeds feature, where you can share Prize Picks with your friends and copy lineups with a single click. You can actually follow me on the app, at BigWill7774, to see all of my lineups. I got a lineup for the football action going on later on this year. Justin Herbert, more on his pass yards. Quentin Johnston, more on his receiving TDs. Rashid Shaheed, more on his receiving yards. New user offer. Download the Prize Picks app today and use code HMA when you play your first $5 lineup to receive $50 in lineups. That's code HMA when you play your first $5 lineup to get an extra $50 in lineups with Prize Picks. Clickable link to download the app is in the comments and description. Justin Herbert, over his career, has shown that he can throw the football all over the yard, and he at times has been asked to be Superman. I don't believe that he's going to be asked to be Superman in Mike McDaniel's style of offense. Why do I believe that? Well, first of all, Mike McDaniel is one of the most genius offensive minds in the National Football League right now. He likes to use a lot of different personnel groupings, mainly that 12 personnel, but he's not afraid to throw 13 personnel in as well. And that's what allows his offense to be unpredictable. Teams are not going to be able to say, oh, they're in this formation. That means they can run these 4 run plays and these 5 pass plays. That was an issue that had been happening in the past. Teams will not be able to tell what McDaniels is about to do offensively. That's going to make life easier on Justin Herbert. We've seen him pick up offenses before in Los Angeles. I think that Herbert picks this offense up fast, and I don't think that there's any questions around him missing some other optional team activities. Herbert was a workaholic. It seems like he's finally starting to relax, and I love that for him. Next storyline that we got to talk about is this defense going to take a step back? Jesse Minter was fantastic in Los Angeles, and there are some question marks around new defensive coordinator Chris O'Leary simply because we have not seen him do this at the National Football League level. Now, why do I believe that he's going to be very successful? Well, Chris O'Leary is someone who learned under Minter. Now, obviously, Minter learned under McDonald, but it's important to mention that McDonald was able to help Minter become a great defensive coordinator and now a head coach, where I do think he will be a really good head coach. Hopefully, O'Leary can have the same type of career path. O'Leary ran the same defense at Western Michigan. It was very good last year. Now, obviously, the competition at Western Michigan is a little different than some of the other places, but if he was able to have success at Western Michigan, he should be able to have some success in Los Angeles. Now, I do have a question. How is his defense going to differ from Minter's? Because if he just tries to be a Jesse Minter clone, that's not going to work because you can't have the Walmart version of Jesse Minter. Chris O'Leary is going to have his own style, and in my opinion, that's what's going to make him great. Now, I think there will be a slight step back, and it's simple. It's Chris O'Leary's first year calling defense at the NFL level. It happens to everyone. He's following someone who's great, and yeah, there will be a slight step back, more than likely. If there isn't, I'll be happy to be wrong on that. But a slight step back isn't the worst thing in the world, especially if it's just something at the beginning. If by the end of the year, Chris O'Leary has this defense clicking on all cylinders like it did under Minter, well, then shoot, I'm going to be pretty darn happy, and so are you. Let's talk about the edge rusher room for this team in Los Angeles, because I think there are 2 different storylines inside of that group. The first one is how is this new look defense going to set up for that 4th edge rusher? Are you going to have a real battle there between Tucker, Dupree, and Kennard? Because when I look at this team, I think it's pretty clear. Thule, Mack, Mesidor. Those are the guys who are going to be rolling out as your 3 main edge rushers. Who's going to be that 4th guy? Because you need a 4th guy in this crew. It's very important to the Chargers, in my opinion, that they get that thing figured out early. Who's going to be that 4th guy? Dupree hasn't looked great over the last couple of years. So do you go with a younger guy? It's not going to be decided in OTAs, but certainly someone's going to get a step forward or at least get a leg up on the competition. Interested to see where it goes from there. The other storyline, I think this is important too. What does Akeem Mesidor look like? I think he's going to be great. I loved Mesidor at Miami. I got to see him in person. Man, he jumped off the page. Mesidor and Bain won that game for Miami against Ohio State. Nobody really else. Maybe Fletcher. But anyone who tries to say the offense and Carson Beck won that game is stupid. They didn't know what they were watching. Mesidor Bain helped Miami go on that run. So in my personal opinion, I want to see what Mesidor looks like. Hopefully it looks really good. I think that he will. Which OTA storyline are you most excited about? Let us know down below in the comment section. Could be any of the 5 that we talk about on today's program. It could be something that maybe I missed. Hey, look, sometimes I'm not perfect. I have my list of the 5 most important things. Maybe your list of the 5 most important things is a little bit different on your show that you do on the Chargers. That was a little bit mean there. But if there's a storyline that I missed or one that you want to go into greater depth on, go reply that in the comment section. Last storyline I want to talk about is the inside linebacker competition. Now, when you look at this Chargers team, it feels kind of loaded at the inside linebacker spot, in my personal opinion. There are a lot of guys who have had a lot of success in the National Football League and have had a lot of success with the Los Angeles Chargers. Between Perryman, Henley, Colson, Dye, Phillips, Wax, there's a lot of really good talent in there. Which one of those guys is going to make the squad? Are there a lot of players on this team that are going to be playing for the Chargers on that linebacking unit, on that inside linebacker unit? Because, well, they made the team whether what they were going to do defensively or what they were going to do in special teams. In my opinion, I think you're going to see a couple guys get cut, especially guys who are on that back half. So if you're on the outside looking in right now, what players are going to put themselves in the best position to make the Chargers roster when all is said and done? OTAs is where it all starts. There might even be some moves that are made after OTAs before mandatory minicamp, which I think would be very interesting. But I'm telling you right now, you're going to start seeing this roster take shape, and it's going to start right here and right now. If you're watching this show today, you're a football sicko, and I love you. Hopefully you're spending the holiday the way that it was meant to be spent. Thank you to all of our members of our services, Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, whole 9 yards, Space Force. Thank you to everyone. This day is an important day, and I want to thank everyone for enjoying that time. Hit that thumbs up button if you enjoyed today's video. Hit that thumbs up button if you support our troops. Thank you guys so much for viewing today's video. Hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any Chargers news or rumors. As always, tell someone that you love them, and make sure that you bolt up.